Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending what time you're viewing this video. My name is Emmanuel, and in today's lesson, I'll be teaching you the topic called statistics and standard deviation. So this topic is one of the topics which mostly comes every year under the GCE and internal pupils. It comes every year. So it's one of the topics that you should know and master by heart in the examination room. So one of our topics in today's lesson will be the 2025 paper 2 GCE, which came in the July August exams last year. So we'll go to A. Question A reads, calculate the standard deviation. So how do we calculate the standard deviation? So before we go into the calculations, let me show you the formula we mostly use. It is given also at the first page. The first page is always given. This is the topic. This is the formula we use. So what are we going to start with first? We're going to start with this, the mean. I'm going to start with the mean. So how do I find the mean on this formula? So this formula should be mastered by heart. I repeat, you should master this formula by heart. And if you fail to master, it is also given in the exam room. So we will start by finding the mean. So you show the steps. So what do I need to do with my step? So I'll get this 5 open bracket plus 20 open bracket plus 55. So because of space, I'll write it here, open bracket, because of space. Then plus 18 open bracket plus 2 open bracket plus 2 open bracket. So this is how we should write this in the exam room. So the one thing I forgot at the beginning, there are two methods we use in finding the mean and also the standard deviation. We have the table formula and also this one. For me, I prefer this formula because it is the most easiest and the most fastest way to use in the exam room, because in the exam room we are trying to beat time. So I would recommend you in the exam room you use this formula. So your question now as a student, you should be asking yourself, what should I put in the brackets? So take note, this is paper 2. You are allowed to use a calculator. That's what you must take note. So when going to write, do not forget a calculator. It's mandatory for you as a pupil. That's the privilege you have. So we will need to look for the midpoint. The midpoint, this is the number which will be here, which will be here, which will be here, which will be here, and so on. So what should I do next? As you might be asking yourself as a pupil. So take note, we have two numbers here, 0 and 20. What should you do? So you're going to get to your calculator, as you see, and you say 0 plus 20. 0 plus 20, as you have seen. It is going to, so divide by 2. The midpoint of 20, it is 10. So we'll put our 10 here. So we go here to the next. We have 20 and 40. So we are going to say 20 plus 40. So you say 20 plus 40. 20 plus 40. It's given as 60. So what's the midpoint of 60? The midpoint of 60, it is 30. So we are going to put 30 here. So we move on to the next. We have 40 and 60. We are going to say 40 plus 60. So you are going to say put 40 plus 60, which is 100. So what is the, we divide by 2. Divide by 2. It is giving us 50. Our midpoint, it is going to be 50. Then we move on to the next one. 60 plus 80. 60 plus 80. 60 plus 80. It is giving us 140. Now you're going to say divide by 2, which is a 70. Then we move on to the next. 80 plus 100. 80 plus 100. So we're going to say 80 plus 100, which will give us a 180. 180. Divide by 2, which is giving us a 90. Now you have found the midpoint. So what should you do? What is the next step? So the next step you should take, you have to underline. You underline. You underline. So you might be asking yourself, when I underline, what is coming underneath? So you are going to get your calculator. You have to calculate these numbers, add them all. 5, 25, add them. So I'll get my calculator and say 5 plus 20 plus 55 plus 80 plus 2. It's giving me a 100. So I'm going to put the 100 here. The 100 here. So we have to add these things and multiply them together. So my advice is, since you are in the exam room, punch all these numbers together. So I'll get my calculator here, as you can see. I'll get it. So you have to add them all together. So let me add a bit of light. So I'm going to punch all these numbers onto the calculator. 5 times 10 cross bracket plus 20 open bracket 30 plus 55 open bracket 50 plus 18 open bracket 70 plus 2 open bracket 90. So when you add these numbers together and you punch, it's giving me a 48. So I'm going to put here x is equals to 4,840. 4,840 divided by this 100. So here you just go direct on your calculator and punch 100. So which will be 48.4. 48.4. 44. So we have found our what? Our mean. So this, let me get our formula. So what I found, it is this. This is the one we are from finding. Now we'll start finding the standard deviation. We start finding this now. Since we know our 48.4, it is this. So we move on to the next chapter now. So when finding the standard deviation, there is not much of a difference. So the only thing is, I'll take these same digits, numbers here. I'll just only square them, power 2, power 2, power 2, power 2, and divide them by 100. There is no difference, there is no change. We are going to use these same values here. So the only thing is, we are going to be squaring them now, power 2, power 2. So let me get my other paper here. So there's not much of a difference here, as you can see. So there's not much of a difference. So let me put it here so you can be able to see. So I'll just get the same digits. So let me just get the same. Let me start writing them now down. So there's not much of any difference. So x, so we are the 5, 10. So I'll put the power 2 plus 20, 30. I put the power 2 plus 55, 50. I put the power 2 plus 18, 70, a power 2 plus 2, 90, a power 2. So as I said earlier, there's not much of a difference. There is not much of a difference. So we square root. Under the same 100 we found, where we added those other numbers. So what should you do now? Now you get your calculator. So here we must be very careful, very careful, very careful. So let me get my formula again. You have seen there's a squared here, power 2 on top. So this is what we're finding now. Then the 100, then the number which is at the bottom, it is this 100 now. So I'm showing you now. So the power 2, it is this what we're finding, and the bottom number, it is the 100 which is coming here. So let's go. So let me get my calculator now. I start punching. So let me add a bit of light for you to be able to see. 5 open bracket times 10 to the power 2 plus 20 open bracket 30 to the power 2 plus 55 open bracket 50 to the power 2 plus 18 open bracket 70 to the power 2 plus 2 open bracket 90 to the power 2. I do equals now. It is giving me this number. So let me write it down. Equals to 740, 400 divide. So I just go direct. I put the 100 here. I just do on the calculator, divide by 100, which is giving me now x. So sorry, this 100, I forgot to add it. So it's, when we divide by 100, it's giving me a 2604. So we are found. So you might be asking me, what is the next step? So because I've already divided this here. I've already divided. So the only thing I need now is just to introduce the brackets. I've already divided, so there is no need to divide again. So I'll get, what are the two digits we have? So I'll get our formula here. This formula, since I've already divided by 100, so I'll only need this now, the two formulas now. So I'll do standard deviation. Let me get a different marker. Let me get a different marker now. Standard deviation is equals to So what did I find? So I have to add this what I'm from finding here to from the part 2. I found that is a 2604 minus my mean. The mean we found at first was this, which is 48.4 cross bracket to the power 2. So I get my calculator here. Since it's so, I'll just go direct. Because of time, you have to observe. It's in the exam room. So you just punch. I'll punch 48.4 cross bracket to the power 2. So my standard deviation here it is 144. Then I just go direct to my calculator here. I press square root. So my standard deviation will be 16.169. So we mostly say it has to be rounded off to 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3. So this will go here. This 9 will go here. It will be 16.17. We end it here. Then you are fully solved. Then this mark normally carries about how many marks this question? Let me check. So in the exam room, you have to show your steps, step by step. So it mostly carries wonderful marks. So you shouldn't forget. So when you're given this question, you should solve. So this question carries 6 marks. 6 marks. So you cannot afford to lose these 6 marks. So thank you very much for joining my lesson. My name is Emmanuel. So for those who might be interested to start with like extra lessons with me, the extra lessons are going at 50 kwacha. You can contact me via this number. This is the number you can contact me on. And also you can also follow me on YouTube and also TikTok. It says Quick Math Medic. Please follow me, like, subscribe, comment where you are not clear. Even share the video to those people who are writing. Share to a brother or sister who might be in need and might need urgent extra lessons to cover up. So I'll be showing you the necessary steps, step by step, how you should come about. So by the time you'll be writing your exam, you'll be fully equipped and prepared with knowledge. So when you go in exam, it will be no stress over. So thank you very much for joining me. See you next time.